Testing. My name is Ajay Sharma. I'm a product manager for vSphere Lifecycle and vSphere Plus. I've been with VMware for past 11 years, working in different areas. And today I'll be talking about vSphere Plus, which is a way to consume VMware subscription model. Now, if you ask me, why do you need to consume this subscription model? You have been using, license for so many years, but let's walk through this session and hopefully those questions will get answered through this session. So let's begin. From the agenda perspective, we have market overview. So I know it's a marketing slide. We'll talk few slides about marketing and why it is needed and things like that. I know this is a technical crowd. We don't need to actually talk about the marketing stuff, but just to set the context, I'll be talking about a few slides about marketing as to why we need vSphere Plus. And then we'll talk about why vSphere Plus is the value proposition item here. Then we'll do a small demo. I know a lot of people will be interested in demo as to how we install, what configuration is needed and things like that. And then we'll have a Q&A session. Hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A as well. All right. So let's get started with the market overview. Now, just to talk about certain trends across the market. Now, these trends will help you shape the IT infrastructure landscape over the next few years. Now, if you see, workloads continue to grow across all the locations, including public cloud, private cloud, or an edge deployment. Now, as a result, this enterprise will continue to see their environments fragmented and in silos. But if you see at the right side, 59% of these are partly focused on increasing their operational efficiencies, whereas 90% can expect to see containerized app in production by 2026. And 60% of them can expect to fund various IT or LOB projects throughout OpEx and budgets. Now, these figures are provided by IDFC. So, just a disclaimer. Now, these are some of the pain points that organization must overcome in order to deploy, fragmented infrastructure wherein there is a poor visibility, there is a poor control access different geos, there are cloud deployments, edge location, and there's lack of confidence that security gaps have been addressed everywhere across these infrastructure deployments. Now, the routine infrastructure maintenance also becomes very costly and a disruptive service. Plus, you'll have some sluggish innovation where application development team and time to market is very slow because they don't have direct interaction with the application or the environment that has been provided to develop those applications. And there are some shortage of skills in terms of talent in cloud native applications or the methods such as Kubernetes application, which fail to meet data security, compliance, or scalability needs. And there is also a flexibility challenge where the flexibility, consumption, and CapEx purchases may be harder to justify and are not aligned with the business, where it might result in more difficult to respond quickly to changing demands. Licensing key management is again a problem. So the biggest reason why workloads are being moved or built in public cloud, you guys probably know it, right? So there are a bunch of advantages when you develop any application in the cloud. You get the advantage of hyperscaling on demand. There is a flexible mode of consumption, which means you only pay for the things that you're using. There's built-in resiliency presence, and you can access it from anywhere. Plus, there is developers agility. Developers can develop their application on Kubernetes platform, virtual machine platform, and any app-friendly platform that they decide to. Plus, there is no maintenance from your side that is being taken care by the cloud vendor. So there are certain benefits and advantages that are attached to public cloud. However, if you come to the advantages of on-prem, there are a bunch of other advantages that you get on-premises, right? Including your data privacy, you have full control on the data security, wherein you can put firewall rules, you can provide a proxy as to what kind of data is coming into the data center and going out of the data center. You can meet your data sovereignty needs, wherein there is a compliance requirement from the government authorities to maintain the data within the premises or the boundaries of a country or a specific region. Plus, you can optimize your applications which are running on premises to provide high performance, giving them more resources or resources on demand. You can also expect a very low latency because everything is locally connected. And then there is a predictable cost attached to it. You know how much hardware you're going to invest, how much operational cost is required, and things like that. So there are both, but there are advantages of being on premises, and there are certain advantages of being on cloud. Now, these are the biggest reason why workloads remain on premises or being reparted, right? So you already know that this, although many of you might not think about this much, as since a lot of focus have been done on cloud migration, but there are certain benefits from the cloud that can be brought on premises. Now, how that is done, we're going to look and talk about in our next slide, which is vSphere Plus. So I'm going to talk or take a deep dive into what vSphere Plus is, what things you might need to have vSphere Plus like environment, how is the licensing or the subscription model going to work, what things you need to install in your on-premises, whether you need to migrate or not. All those questions will be answered in this next session. So, three major benefits when it comes to vSphere Plus. vSphere Plus provides you admin services. Admin services are nothing but a set of cloud services or a SaaS capability that an admin or a VI admin can use and do a bunch of stuff to make themselves more productive and increase their efficiency, all done through a single pane of glass. So you don't have to go or run to or log into each vCenter server to manage them. We will provide you a cloud console or a single pane of glass from where you can manage entire infrastructure of vSphere Plus. Along with that, we provide accelerated innovation for DevOps and developers. This helps developers team with Kubernetes ready environment, transforming your existing virtual or vSphere environment to a Kubernetes ready environment. You also transform your on-premises. You don't have to move or migrate anything. Just connect your on-premises and you're ready to use all the cloud services provided by vSphere Plus, which we just talked about, including your admin services, your DevOps services, and there are a bunch of other features and advantages that we're going to talk into the next slides. So, okay, I was just looking at the chat. Please post questions there. Somebody will address, or we can take it at the end of the session. Let me move on to the next slide. Now, this is your typical on-premises deployment or setup. As you can see here, it consists of your ESXi host, which is managed by vCenter servers or a couple of vCenter servers, depending on how big your environment is. And on infrastructure, which is vSphere infrastructure, you are running your traditional applications or modern applications, any AI, ML, high CPU intensive application that is needed, any real-time application that you might have, or you can also run your bare metal workloads. We can have compute and memory intensive apps. All this can be achieved and done in your on-premises. So why do you need a cloud connected environment, or why do you need vSphere Plus, right? That begs the question. Now, to answer that question, let me move on to the next slide. So as you can see, this is your on-premises infrastructure. Nothing is moving or changing as part of your on-premises. Everything remains as it is on your on-premises. What we are providing is a high-value cloud services. We are providing you a centralized management console or a single pane of glass to manage all kinds of workloads, be it modern application, traditional, AML, real-time, bare metal, everything can be managed using this cloud console. And you continue to run your on-premises setup as it is, but you also get admin services, you get developer services, and there are a bunch of add-on services that we're going to talk about in detail. So vSphere Plus is nothing but a cloud delivery model for your on-premises setup. And how do we do this, or how do we connect this on-premises to your cloud console? We're going to look into the next slide. Now, vSphere Plus talks, or there are three major tracks or messages that vSphere Plus is providing as of today. We are providing the admin services, as we spoke about it, which gives the capability to consolidate large environment through single console, and you'll be able to gain access to all your vSphere Plus environment, which means, let's say if you have 10 vCenter servers in your data center, to manage a single component, let's say a virtual machine, you have to log into that vCenter server, click on that VM, see if there are any alert messages, or if you want to do a vMotion, or if you want to do any other stuff on that virtual machine, you have to log into that VC. Similarly, if you have to modify 10 VMs, you have to log into 10 different vCenter servers and do this differently, which consumes a lot of time from the admin perspective. But with vSphere Plus, we are providing a single pane of glass, which will show you all 10 vCenter servers and the entire inventory in a single control or a single pane of glass. You can see all alerts, all monitoring stuff related to those VMs or virtual machines or vCenter servers into a single pane of glass. So you don't have to log into each vCenter server to do that. Along with that, we understand that the managing or maintaining, updating or patching, all of these components can be a cumbersome and requires a lot of planning, downtime, that goes behind an upgrade of a virtual machine or a ESXi or a vCenter server. What we are trying to do is we are trying to reduce this maintenance cost by providing certain lifecycle management services where we have really optimized the updates and maintenance with very minimum disruption for the vSphere Plus customers. Now, as I said, monitoring and alert also becomes very easy. You don't need to visit each vCenter servers. You'll be able to provision VMs. Also from a single pane of glass, you can see all the monitoring alerts, issues that pop up in any vCenter, ESXi, or a virtual machine into a single pane of glass. That being said, this is how the VMware Cloud Console looks like. On the left-hand side, if you see, there is a bunch of menu item which says inventory, subscription, infrastructure operations, and virtual machines. There are other things that are added. This slide is a little older, but just to give you a preview, if you select the inventory tab, you can see your vCenters, which is connected. You can see how much CPU utilization, memory utilization, and storage utilization is done by this CPU. How many clusters, hosts, and VMs and things like that have been displayed here. So you can get a view of all the vCenter servers connected and what is the usage and consumption model for each vCenter server in this single pane of glass. Now, currently in my setup, there were only 2 vCenters connected to it. So it is just showing 2 vCenters. But it can do a bunch of stuff, like it can provide you a global inventory service, which will provide a visual inventory of all the vSphere resources. Event view service can provide a consolidated view of all events and alerts. There is a security health check service, which can evaluate vSphere security posture for you. Then you have a VM provisioning service, wherein you can provision virtual machines from this cloud console on any ESXi host or vCenter that you wish to. Then we provide the lifecycle management service, which will take care of lifecycle of vCenter servers for now. We are working on providing a lifecycle capability for ESXi as well. Now, how this will help you, I'll show you in the next slide when we do a demo, how you can configure the lifecycle for vCenter, and using one-click upgrade, within few minutes, you can upgrade your vCenter server to the latest available version. I'll show you that in the demo. But just for your understanding, we manage your lifecycle of vCenter server. And in future, we are also going to provide you an option to manage your ESXi servers or the lifecycle of ESXi servers. So you don't invest a lot of time in reading what is part of the release note, which ISO to connect, what is the latest update version that is there, what are the patch versions that are available for ESXi and things like that. So it's going to make life very, very easy for VI admins, and it's going to save a lot of time for all the admins across vSphere environment. Along with this, we have configuration. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Ajay. So I have a question here. Let's suppose we have this vSphere Plus in our environment. So how it is different from VCF, or if I'll talk about the link mode. So if I'm managing the multiple vCenter servers from that also, right? So if you can give some light on this as well.
Sure, that's a great question. So let me come to the part 1, right? So how is it different from VCF, correct?
Yeah.
VCF environment provides life cycle, but it doesn't provide a single inventory for all connected vCenter servers. Plus, it has a part of VROps, and you can provide other services which may or may not be required. And in ELM mode or embedded link mode, you can only connect 14 vCenter servers as of now. But in vSphere Plus, you can connect 20, 50, 100, 200 vCenter servers, and all the vCenter servers you can see in a single pane of glass.
Okay, so you also told that we can create machines or we can do any activity on any vCenter server, right? So is it also like the cluster-wise segregation that we are doing on the for vCenter servers, or we can utilize the resources of other vCenter in another vCenter? Is it possible in this?
So what I said was, was you can create virtual machines across any clusters or any
Mm-hmm.
vCenter server. So you don't have to log into that specific VC. From the Cloud
Okay,
Console, you'll have an option to provision a VM, and there will be a drop down to select a VC. Once you select that vCenter server, it will list
okay,
on all the clusters and hosts under that VC. And then you can go
mm-hmm.
and create
Okay,
those VMs. So it is not a region specific. So let's say if you have vCenters in multiple geos or another region, you can still connect to vSphere Plus and have a single pane of glass for all VCs in one place. Does that answer your question?
yeah.
Okay. Great. Let me move forward. So let's talk about a little bit about app development or DevOps folks, right? So far, the major focus was on virtual machine creation and running application on top of that, right? So there was no scope for developers or developer agility. But with vSphere Plus, you also get a Tanzu grid service it comes as part of the vSphere Plus. You don't have to pay it separately. So that a TKG provides you an environment to develop your modern applications just like any cloud vendor. It can help you accelerate the development of your modern apps by Kubernetes ready environment. What I basically mean to say, your vSphere environment will convert your existing environment into Kubernetes ready environment, which means it will provide another platform under a platform. So altogether, it makes it very easy to manage, run, and create applications. So just like on Amazon or any other cloud vendor, developers can go and create or provision their Kubernetes workload or a virtual machine. vSphere Plus Cloud Console provides a similar capability where you can go ahead and provision the resources that you want to do any operations, whether you want to just run an application or you want to develop your application, making it easy for the developers and accelerating the development of an application. It also helps to manage, as I said, right? So you can connect not as only 14 vCenters, just like embedded link mode has a limitation of only 14 vCenters to be connected in a single embedded link mode. Here you can connect or attach or register around 200 vCenter servers to vSphere Plus and still get a single pane of glass. So you can manage large scale deployments, which will provide you a centralized platform for all the operations using the Cloud Console. That makes very easy for the VI admins to do management and maintenance of all the components of vSphere Plus. Now, once you want to install or start using your vSphere Plus, you don't have to do anything. I mean, it runs on premises and your on-premises setup remains as it is. You don't have to touch, migrate, or do any part of that on your on-premises. You just have to install a gateway appliance or a proxy appliance, which will connect your on-premises appliance or on-premises setup to the cloud instance. Once you are connected to the cloud instance, then you can go ahead and convert to subscription. All your existing license gets converted to subscription. Subscription is a keyless entitlement, so you don't need a license to maintain or manage it. So no more license management. License management is completely eliminated, and you don't have to spend resources on that. And you also get on-demand capacity, which means if you want to do a disaster recovery, you can have an add-on capacity onto the cloud and migrate all your workload to the cloud. There is also a special security provisioning that is done for ransom protection. You can do your capacity management, you can do optimization, and there are other services which are in development. Just like I said, ESXi lifecycle will be enabled using vSphere Plus and make it more simpler for the VI admins to do lifecycle of VC and ESXi. So just to summarize the key benefits, I mean, we already talked about this. This is just the summary of what we already talked about. So I'm not going to go into the detail. I'll just read out the bullet points which are provided here. So you'll get a supercharge productivity with admin services we talked about. You'll get a accelerated innovation with DevOps. We'll get a Kubernetes ready environment where developers can start developing their applications. So the go-to market or ready to market is faster. And you can transform your on-premises into a cloud integrated environment. So that being said, let's move on to the demo, which is the most interesting part. Now, before we move on to the demo, let me just unshare the screen and share the demo part of it. Give me 1 second. Any questions till now, or are we good?
So Ajay, we have few questions in Q&A section.
Okay, let me see that. If we compare with ELM, more than 14 VCs we connected using this. Any other benefit which is not there in ELM? With ELM, when you try to upgrade your vCenter server, there is a possibility that you upgraded 3 vCenter servers. And when you're trying to upgrade your 4th vCenter server and it fails, you'll have to revert back all the vCenter servers which are already upgraded. However, with vSphere Plus, it's not an ELM mode, but it provides all the capabilities and all the advantages of ELM. So we believe that vSphere Plus is the way forward, and it provides more capabilities and more advantages as compared to ELM. Next question, how is this vSphere can integrate with VMware VCF solution? Good question, Amit. So with VCF, we are also coming up with another solution, or it's already launched and GA'd. It's called VCF Plus. It provides a similar capability. However, it is for the VCF environment. What we are doing today is for vSphere environment specific, but it has a similar capability available in VCF Plus as well. I hope that I've answered this question. DR is limited to DR as a service only, like VCDR or SRM is also converged. No, it is right now limited to DR as a service only. We are still working on enabling SRM on vSphere Plus environment. So all the things or all the second party components which work today with vSphere will also work with vSphere Plus, if not now, but in recent futures. I hope that answers your question, Brijesh. Okay, same time snapshot backup required during VC upgrade in vSphere Plus, which is major pain. Yeah, that is right. So you have to take a backup and snapshot of all the vCenter servers that are connected in ELM at the same time. There is no similar requirement in vSphere Plus for all VCs. You can have it at a different time. Thank you for that. Okay, I believe I've answered all the questions in Q&A. Let me go ahead and start the demo for you guys. So, can you guys see my screen? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So as a first step of vSphere Plus, you have to deploy a gateway appliance which will provide the connectivity to the cloud. So I'm going to go ahead and download that gateway appliance, and then we'll see how do we install that product. So I'm going to go in vSphere Plus from the product downloads, and then I'll go ahead and download the cloud appliance, the latest cloud appliance that is available. It is same as the vCenter appliance or any VCSA appliance that you might have used it in past. So it's downloaded. Let me go ahead and install this using a jump box. I'm going to use a Windows installer. So Let's get started. This is the normal agreement or EULA or the user and application. So let me copy and paste the host name where I'm going to install this appliance. Okay. And let me provide a password. So these are available in hands-on lab on VMware site. So if you guys are interested, you guys can go ahead and try this after the session. So this is the normal installer that we do for any appliance. I've provided the password for the cloud gateway appliance. By the way, this gateway appliance is completely managed by VMware. So you just have to install it and then you have to literally forget about it. All the upgrade, maintenance, troubleshooting will be done by VMware. So you don't have to bother, you just have to install and you're done. So this is the URL which it's going to take us. Once I click on launch, if you can see that it's similar to what WAMI console for vCenter is. Till this port number, and then the gateway platform is added to provide you options to connect to the VC and the. So this is the gateway installation. Let me go ahead and see, show you guys what is the next step. So next step, once the installation is done, then you launch it and it opens to the WAMI console /GW-platform, wherein you can click go get started and it'll provide you two cards. Now, once the gateway installation is done, the first step that you do is to connect your gateway appliance to the VMware cloud. So there are certain pre-checks that is run. Once the pre-check is successful, go ahead and click next. It will provide you a code. So it is not a password-based authentication. If you see, it is a code-based or passcode-based authentication. So no password has been passed on to the cloud if you are concerned about security. You need to select an org on the cloud where you have access to, or you need to create this org beforehand, or we'll create an org and provide you with the password and username. Once you select the org that you have created or you're responsible for, you can just select that org on the cloud and confirm connection. Provide the passcode, which is here. We have copied it and then submit here. Now, this usually takes few minutes. It is just shown faster in the demo, but it usually takes around 15-20 minutes because it downloads certain agents on top of the gateway, which provides those services which will be running from the cloud. Now, the first step we have done, we have connected our gateway appliance to the cloud. Now, the second step is to connect your vCenter server to the cloud instance. You click on connect and then select your vCenter server that you want to add. Let me copy the name of vCenter server that I have, or the host name. Paste it here. So as simple as this, right? Just connect your vCenter to the gateway, which is running on premises. You can add as many vCenter as you want. I have just connected one vCenter server here, but I can connect more vCenter. Let's say So now we'll see how do
So
we
this,
yeah,
yeah, so I have one question. Are this gateway appliance that you deployed that we need to install one time, right? And that
yes,
we can add multiple vCenter servers. So any specific consideration that we need to put on before deploying this? Let's suppose I have 5 vCenter servers in different locations. So in which location we should prefer it?
great question, by the way. So let me tell you.
Ajay, one more thing. Ajay, one more thing. Can you also highlight the network topology which should be used? Can it be sit behind proxy? Does it need to be in any production environment of the customer? Or maybe it should be put in DMC where it has direct access to the cloud. Or maybe there is
Sure,
a
sure.
site-to-site tunnel set for the customer, right? So
Excellent
that'll
question.
also help.
Yeah. Let me open a notepad and show you guys this information, right? So first question was any or where do we place this gateway appliance? So gateway appliance currently, let me increase the font. Can I? Okay, anyways, you guys can see gateway can support up to 8 vCenters per gateway. And so let's say you have 5 different locations having 5 different VCs, right? Now so the only requirement here is you can have a single gateway appliance deployed to any of these locations. However, the latency to the gateway should be below 300 milliseconds. But if you have latency, let's say, which is more than 300 seconds, sorry, it should be less than. And if you have a latency or a location where the latency is more than 300 seconds, we would recommend to deploy another gateway appliance for that. The other question was regarding proxy, right? So if you have proxy settings enable, we provide provision to provide proxy settings before you are connecting to the cloud. And even if there is a firewall, you have to just whitelist in the proxy file, and then you should be able to connect to the cloud. Did I answer all your questions or any doubts?
I think this is good for the network perspective.
Okay. Awesome, guys. So once you are connected to the cloud, you can directly go to the cloud and this is over. Yeah, let me open the another. Now I'll show you how do you subscribe your vCenter server. So once you are done with connecting your vCenter servers, you go to the cloud console, log in with your credentials, and in the inventory tab, you will see all the vCenters that are connected. Now, once you have connected your vCenter servers, you have an option to convert to subscription. So you can select and choose which vCenter you want to convert to subscription. Here I have selected 2 vCenter servers out of all the VCs that are connected. And I'm saying connect to conversion or connect to subscription. And those 2 VCs are connected to subscription. Now, once you are connected to subscription, you can actually utilize the admin services or all the services that we talked about in the presentation slide, like the lifecycle services, VM provisioning services, in monitoring and alert services for those specific vCenter servers which are subscribed. Now, if you look here, you have all the information related to those vCenters which are connected. You can see your CPU utilization, memory, storage utilization. And if you go to view details, you can see what capacity and usage utilizations we have, what number of host clusters and VMs connected to it. You also have an option to open the vCenter console here. So if you click here, your H5C client will open where you can log in and do the stuff. So your access to any of those things will not be gone. It will all be there. It will be working as normal. Any API connection, any second party product that you have connected will continue to work as it is. So here you can see all your inventory, and this is your normal vSphere client. Now, you see all these options are provided here. Your inventory, you see all the vCenters connected, and you can convert them into subscription and see details about capacity usage. Let's look at the virtual machine option. What options do we have and what we can do? So right now you can see there are 75 VMs. This is across all vCenters which are connected to my inventory or connected to the cloud. You can search for, or the global inventory search is available here. You can search for any VM which is available, and it will show you all the virtual machines, including your Kubernetes workload. So not just virtual machines, but your Kubernetes workload can also be seen and managed using this console. Now let me go ahead and go to vCenter server. And show you if that VM exists or not. So from here, we can create a VM. Let's say test VM-1. Select a vCenter server of your choice. It will list you all the data centers under it. Then you can go ahead and select a cluster that you want to create the VM on. You can also create, have templates and select the template or an operating system that you want to deploy. Let's say I want to have a Microsoft deployment, Windows 10. Provide the data store that you want to use. Let's say I have vSAN Plus also along with vSphere Plus. That will expose my vSAN data centers from the Cloud Console, and I can use those vSAN data stores. It will also list the networks that is available from those ESXi hosts where you want to deploy. Now it is ready for deployment, and you create VM. Now, once you click create VM here, you can go back to this tab and see that the VM is created. Test VM1. So it is nothing but everything happens on premises, only it will provide you the UI to execute or create the virtual machine, or it will display all the inventory and you can do some stuff on that. So that being said, let's move on to the next demo. Here we are going to talk and see what is part of the infrastructure operations, what alerts, monitoring information or events are available. So you can click on infrastructure operations tab, and you will see all those events or errors, warnings are available. You'll also see what are the top 5 security issues across vCenter server or in my vCenter environment. You can see those messages here. If you scroll down, it will provide you more details. You can click on more details. Top events, you can see what are the top events happening in your vSphere environment. You can click them, or you can go and find in more details about those environment and see where it is occurring. You can see the alarms status as well. It will provide you additional information once you click on it. Here is the list of events, and it can provide the summary as to what's going on, what are the top vCenters where those issues are there, and things like that. Plus, you have a security tab, which will tell you or talk you about what are the security issues in your environment. Let's say you click on disable SSH service and see what items are affected. So it will tell you a detailed description about what this issue is. And if you want to know more, you can use the KB article to know more. Which are the items which are affected by this? Which are the vCenter servers? What are the ESXi hosts? Let's say you want to open one ESXi host and check. you can click on that and directly go to that component. You can go to configure and remediate that. Go to services, select SSH, stop. So that warning will go ahead. So all this stuff can be done using a single pane of glass. So you don't have to go anywhere. From here, you can go and check what items are there, how many hosts are affected, how many vCenters are affected, and everything can be managed using single pane of glass. So let's come back to the inventory part of it, and let's talk more about vCenter servers and how we can enable one-click upgrade, or how we can manage the life cycle of these vCenter server. So first you go to inventory, select the vCenter that you want to enable the maintenance or life cycle for it. Then select and go to the maintenance tab of that vCenter server. Now, this vCenter server, before you enable maintenance, it will do a certain prerequisite or a pre-check just to ensure that once you enable the one-click upgrade and do an upgrade, it should pass. If there is a prerequisite or things that are required to be done for it to enable maintenance, it will pop up and this pre-check will fail, which means basically it will let you know what is missing and what you need to do to ensure that the pre-check passes and your upgrade goes successful. So we'll click on pre-check. And in this case, it has passed the pre-check, and you can click on update now. It'll make sure that you have taken a backup, or it'll remind you that you take a backup. Once you confirm that you have taken a backup, it'll go ahead and proceed. Now your vCenter server is updated to the latest version. Whenever a next update is available, it will display here. You have an option to select that upgrade and again do an upgrade of a vCenter server to ensure that you're always on the latest version. Now, the total downtime for this vCenter upgrade is only 3 minutes to 4 minutes. We have really optimized this downtime. In a normal case or a general case, you might see a downtime of about 45 minutes to 1 hour to 2 hours, depending on how much database is available in that vCenter server. But we have optimized in a way that the total downtime when the services get transferred from the source to the target is only 3 minutes. So this is the one-click upgrade service available for vCenter server. We are working on making this available for ESXi also. Once we have that, we'll have a similar feature wherein you can go ahead and select ESXi or a cluster and do maintenance of those ESXi clusters. Now, along with this, we also have configuration services available, or a desired state configuration available in vCenter, which means if you are running a bunch of vCenter servers and you want some vCenter servers to be in a specific profile, you can create a profile from here and attach it to those vCenter servers where you want to make it similar. Let's say profile 1. And I'm going to extract it from a vCenter that I want to have the profile, and then attach it to a different vCenter server so that both have a similar configuration. So that profile is created, and you can use that profile to attach it to any vCenter server. So right now it is not compliant. I need to go to setting. Okay, I see there is one question in Q&A. Let me see. Can you please brief vSAN Plus and how both vSphere Plus and vSAN Plus will help in VCF infra? vSAN Plus is nothing but the subscription model for vSAN, which means if you have vSAN and you have taken vSAN Plus, you can subscribe those ESXi host, which is providing the vSAN capability and can be used while provisioning virtual machines from vSphere Plus. So there isn't much difference from usage perspective. If you have not, if you don't have a vSAN Plus subscription model, you can still continue with perpetual mode. But when you provision VMs from the cloud console, you'll not be able to see vSAN data stores while provisioning those VMs. I hope I've answered your question, Himadri. So any more questions so far, or are we good? Or what do you guys feel about vSphere Plus? Any comments or feedback?
So anyone has any question, they can raise hand or ask in Q&A section.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are good.
Okay, amazing. I think we have saved 9 minutes. I'm going to give you back 9 minutes. So if you have any more questions, let me just go back to the slide. Let me show you one more thing before we disperse. Yeah, there are a bunch of information available on site let me share it. So you guys can go to these links. I can probably share it with the VMUG leader here, and he can share it. But there is a vSphere Plus blog page wherein there is a lot of information provided. There is also hands-on lab available, which I can share with you guys, and you guys should be able to take advantage of it. Yeah, this is the blog I was talking about. It also has the links to HOL at the end of this blog. It's a nice blog written by our internal technical marketing team guy, and it provides more detail as to what it does and how it operates. Let me provide this link in the chat as well, so that if somebody...
Yeah, and regarding licenses, you mentioned that there is no additional license required, right?
There is no additional license required. Yes. So this is a keyless entitlement, which means you don't have to manage or take a note of license. It is based on metering and usage. So once you start using or consuming codes in your ESXi, you'll be billed accordingly. So you can also do an over usage. So I think more information can be provided by the salesperson as to how many codes they charge, how many they don't. But yeah, so the licensing or the subscription model is based on core. That's the universally applicable now for any other company that is there, like Microsoft or Adobe or Atlassian, anybody that do license subscription model.
Okay. And what about the computer resource size that required to deploy that appliance?
Oh, yeah, that is around 8 vCPUs and about 36 gigs of memory with around 200 GB of disk space. But we are working on optimizing it, so you might see a further reduction in resources in near future.
Okay, and any maintenance required for that appliance?
Great
Like
question.
a regular
That
update?
yeah, that appliance upgrade is taken care by VMware. So you don't have to do anything. Whenever the upgrade is available, we'll inform you. We'll tell you, so there is a few minutes of downtime because the services needs to be restarted. But we will be pushing the upgrade bits from the clouds. You don't have to do anything on the cloud. Oh, sorry, on the gateway.
Okay.
Completely managed by VMware. And it's a stateless device, which means there is no database which is there. Even if it goes bad, we can, deploy a new appliance and it will start working the same way that it has been working.
And do you have any port details that required to open between these appliances and vCenter servers?
Yes, there is. It is mostly 443 outbound connection that is required. I can share more information. on the release notes or docs. Well, I mean, installation doc has it regarding the port information. Let me see if I can open it here and show you guys. It's pretty simple and straightforward. Yeah, this will display you all the system requirement, what minimum version you have to be on vSphere Plus. And yeah, these are the CPU and memory requirements for the gateway. So if you want to have 8 vCenter servers connected to a single gateway, you need 16 vCPUs, and this memory has been reduced now. So the latest gateway version that we have released will have only 36 GB of memory or lesser. So this is improved. These are the port requirements for the gateway. So so Cloud Gateway internally talks on 443 and 744 to collect certain data and metrics to provide those services. But the outbound connection that is required is only 443. So it goes via secure channel and it's taken care. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Let me also give this link in the chat so that you guys have it handy. Any other questions, guys? We still have 4 minutes.
Yeah, Sahil, you have anything that you want to
I
ask?
think we are good. Ajay, it's been wonderful session, to be honest. It's give you visibility to the folks who are starting the journey to the cloud
Awesome.
as
Great.
infrastructure people.